excited to have you. We do this special event every year, usually in another venue, so this is kind of exciting for us to be in this venue. We have a really large panel of really special guests tonight, and it's a really interesting topic that's going to affect your future. So without further ado, we're going to watch the video that will set the stage for what we're talking about tonight. I will then ask the panelists to come forward and sit down. We'll introduce the panelists, and I'll turn it over to our interlocutor, Dr. Hausman, who is going to run the show tonight. After the Socratic Dialogue, after about an hour, we'll take questions from all of you in the audience. So hold on to your questions and figure out who you want to ask what question to. And then we have a lovely green room reception downstairs. I heard there's a magician, so we can all hang out. We were really worried it was a rock band, but it's a magician, so he's not starting yet, so we're all okay. So without further ado, let's watch Is Your Career in Clear?
We hear a lot these days about the power of social media.
We've all been there posting photos, selfies, vacation snaps on social media. The question though, can you be fired for it?
A local anchor in Pittsburgh was fired after she posted stereotypical comments about Black individuals on her public Facebook page.
A police officer has been fired.
Fired a teacher.
Fired a manager.
She was fired from her job as a waitress. A police officer fired.
And one local firefighter is fired.
The radio host fired.
A rookie Detroit police officer fired over his post on Snapchat.
Ongoing controversial issue, that line between job and freedom of speech when it comes to social media.
When writing in social media like Facebook, what is defined as a threat and what is protected by free speech?
As we spend more and more of our lives online, digital spaces become increasingly important, and your First Amendment rights exist in a digital space just as much as they exist in the real world. So if we don't draw a line in the sand now and say, no, these are our rights, we'll eventually move into a world where we're locking ourselves out of these spaces.
So what's the rule when it comes to personal social media and the professional world? Where does appropriate behavior meet First Amendment rights?
Up here as you come, I'm going to introduce you. So sitting as close to me as possible is Kim Herrera. She's a student in our senior capstone course, and she's going to play the role of a senior elementary ed major. You may not know this, but elementary ed majors are very subject to social media scrutiny to the point that they may not be able to do a student teaching experience because of things that they post on social media. So Kim is going to take that role. Right next to Kim is Tom Loeb. Tom Loeb is a graduate of our program, was sitting on the other side a few years ago, and is now in the Incline Communication Group, and he is our social media expert for the evening. Next to him is Bobby Ballard. Bob works now in our career advancement, let me say it right, career advancement center, but he was formerly in charge of our university advising. So we're happy to have him here looking at careers and advancement and where our students, where Rowan students are going into the workplace. And seated next to, we have two guests tonight from Baker Tilly. I'm not going to say the rest of the law firm name, it's a long law firm name. But first is Julia. She's the manager of People Solutions for the company, and she also has the designation Professional in Human Resources after her name. Chelsea is next to her, and she's a senior campus recruiter. So these two are really going to talk about talent acquisition and tell us how to safeguard yourself in the workplace. And then we have two guests coming all the way from New York City. We really appreciate them, John and Megan. John started his company, Adapting Social, when he was 17 years old in his basement. And so he has grown it to a full-service design and marketing agency. They provide service to the U.S. and 20 other countries around the globe. So we're going to happy to have his perspective. And right next to him is Megan. And Megan is the Chief Marketing Officer. And so she's going to talk about trends in the digital landscape and give us her perspective on that. Next to Megan is Dr. Larry Butler. He is the Dean, the Associate Dean of the College of Communication and Creative Arts. And I won't say the name. And he is really a political scientist by training meeting, so he's going to give us a lot of First Amendment perspectives on our topic here tonight. And also, next to Larry is Kate Harmon, our own professor here, and she really teaches a course in political communication that we feel really uniquely qualifies her for this role, and she's going to take that political aspect along with Dr. Butler and talk to us about First Amendment issues as it relates to social media and as it relates to employment. And last but not least, Elizabeth Darrow is also a student in our senior class, and she is going to take the role of a dismissed worker. She has been dismissed for her social media usage, and so she's going to give us her perspective. And finally, our interlocutor extraordinaire, as I like to call him, Dr. Carl Hausman, is professor of journalism at Rowan. He specializes in ethical effects of new technologies. He's testified before Congress about privacy rights and invasiveness of developing technology. He's appeared as a commentator on Anderson Cooper's World News Now, The O'Reilly Factor, CBS News Capitol Voices, and CNN. He's the author of many books on media ethics, and I think like 40 books overall, right? So we're happy to have him here.
4 books we've written 10 times.
Right. No, that's okay. We count those. So we're really happy to have him as our interlocutor. Interlocutor, for those of you who aren't familiar with Socratic Dialogue, is an MC, and he'll be controlling the flow of conversation. Thank you very much. Thank you to all the panelists, really. Thank you.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Don't anybody post that. Teacher in Georgia, 24-year-old teacher, had a picture of herself posted on Facebook, holding the infamous red cup. There was a little more to it than that. She was wearing a pirate hat and had a caption that said "drunken pirate," but nothing really extraordinary. But she was fired for that. When I bring up, I don't want to put it in front of you either. I don't know. Who's tenure here?